Hey, what's up, guys? This is Bryce VanHoosen from Silver Talon, and today I want to talk to you about Danzig.
Nice. Well, people that have, and this is going to sound weird if I say it, but people that have pictures of you without clothes on
Oh, yeah.
might have had a sneaking suspicion because you have a massive Danzig tattoo, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that is correct.
For a younger generation, Danzig was this entity already when they started listening to music. For people that are a little bit older than you and I, probably got to know Danzig through the Misfits. How was what was your journey like? Like, how did you discover Glenn Danzig?
Yeah, well, so here I brought I got props too.
Oh,
all right. Yeah, we'll pull these out. So yeah, my discovery of the body of work that is Glenn Danzig was through the Misfits as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if a lot of people know, but I came to metal pretty much through punk, right?
Okay.
So like I started listening to in high school, listening to stuff like Sex Pistols and all the kind of like UK sort of stuff, and then
yeah.
As I got through the years of high school, getting a little bit more angrier, and the testosterone starts kicking in. The music starts getting faster and more aggressive, right?
Right.
And so Misfits, I don't know when I first started listening to them, to be completely honest. It's just sort of one of those, like, I guess kind of like stock beginner bands that you listen to and you're like, I want to get into punk. So Misfits, of course, one of them. But as things started to progress, as things started to get faster and louder, this album, Earth AD, which is kind of like their closest version of like a hardcore album,
Right.
really sort of became kind of the thing that I would listen to, in between classes or even in classes, just sort of on repeat, right? It's like 30 minutes. I'm just playing it over and over and over again. What is the song? Green Hell was one of my favorites on this one. Metallica did a cover, not amazing, but the original, highly recommended.
Before we go into your first, pick that you really want to highlight, are you like a Danzig fan throughout, or are you like, well, I've got like these eras that I connect with more? Because he's done some very different stuff over the years.
Yeah, I would say probably everything up to like Danzig 4 is really kind of my sort of bread and butter. So including like the Samhain stuff in between.
Yeah.
And I know the Celtic pronunciation is Samhain, but I'm going to say Samhain because that's what
most people will remember or recognize.
These barbarians from New York say when they introduce that band. So yeah, that stuff also is great. So yeah, pretty much everything from the inception of like the Misfits to Danzig 4, or even like the all of the Rick Rubin albums with Danzig. That stuff is god tier material, all of it, and it's something that you're absolutely right. You can start from the beginning there and go through just so many different eras, really. Especially the Samhain stuff. It gets really weird and really experimental. I think it was a cool era for them just to sort of like, and for Glenn really to just sort of try things. I don't think he had a very good idea of what he wanted to do before, Rick Rubin came in and, the rest of the guys in Danzig, like John Christ, Yuri Vaughn, and they kind of started to, narrow it down a little bit. And they're like, well, let's do this thing. Because they started writing the song Twisted Cain as sort of like a joke, right? It was like, they called it like Alice Cooper ripoff or something like that. And then that became what they were known for.
maybe it is Green Hell that you mentioned before, but if I was to ask you, what are those 3 songs that Danzig has worked on or sung over the years that really stand out for you? Like, what would be the first one you go to?
Yeah, I'd probably go to Green Hell. Just has that typical kind of like Misfits, like that picking pattern that they start off with at the beginning. That's like, let me see. I got guitar here to show, it's that super down-picked kind of proto thrash sort of sounding kind of sound on that one. This is before metal, before I'd listened to anything, before Slayer, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Just mind-blowing. Like, wow, it's like so aggressive. The guitar is so tight and so punchy. And just made me, as a little, 15-year-old, want to start circle pitting in math class or whatever.
When they started putting out singles in the late 70s, I think their first singles were from 77 or 78 or something like that. I think the first singles came out, like shitty production, what have you, but at that time already known for a crazy live show that brought also that showmanship. And they brought that to genres, punk and hardcore, where usually that is a big no, right? Like you have to be like, you have to be legit and real. You're not gonna have like, face paint and wacky outfits and a horror theme. So they definitely, were very influential that way. Did they ever influence you to the point of the Devilock?
I did. I actually did. I had a Devilock, I think. Might have been like 10th or 11th grade in high school. I think I had, just the, the little squiggy thing, much to the chagrin of my parents.
Yeah. So please tell me there are pictures of this online.
There probably are at some point. I think I have some where I was doing like, I had like, Liberty Spikes, that whole kind of like the Casualties or whatever, and then of course the homage to the Misfits. You have the Devilock kind of in the middle, just pointing straight down. So I think there's definitely some pictures of that somewhere out there.
We'll see what we can find. What Danzig then did after he left the Misfits for you took over. So I'm gonna assume that if we go into what your second song would be, that we entered the solo, the Danzig records, or am I wrong?
Yeah. So yes, we can. The Samhain stuff, it's interesting, but it never really gets to like that sort of level for me.
Yeah.
But we'll go with, let me see. I'll grab my next prop here. All right, so we'll go with Danzig 2. Okay. So this is my first intro to the actual world of Danzig's solo project. And look at that, just very, very just all sorts of testosterone. So second track that stands out to me would be Snakes of Christ, which is very similar to Twist of Cain, but I feel like it got refined maybe a little bit more. So that riff. Just a very simple song with a very, it's like a 4-5 note sort of riff. It modulates, and it's basically just that and some chords. Time to run, yeah. Time to hide. Polar war in the land of fire. So the second album, I feel like they really sort of coalesced into kind of the perfect killer sort of unit here. Like all the stars sort of aligned. The production is great. His voice is probably the best that it had ever been in his entire career. I think this is the if I'm not mistaken, this is the last album where they were tuned to standard tuning. So I think after that, and in all the live stuff, they kind of started to go a little bit lower in the tuning as Danzig's getting a little bit older. Can't really hit those high notes. So that one for me, that album is like the absolute pinnacle of just everything that Danzig's.
Yeah.
So number 3, oh man, that glare, terrible. We're gonna skip to the record is so big it doesn't even fit in the sleeve. That's how jam-packed this one is. So Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill. This one, I think from a songwriting perspective, that one has probably the best, the most diverse sort of songs to kind of sink your ear into. Started doing different kind of things with that one, and it is, I feel like, probably the most metal of all of them. Whereas, Danzig 1, it's kind of a little bit of butt rock, I guess, for lack of a better term. Danzig 2, you get into kind of the more sort of like bluesy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Danzig 3, he gets, almost like as progressive as Danzig gets for his career. They have a lot more clean parts mixed in with the heavy parts, sort of playing with the dynamics and things like that. So third track, of course, How the Gods Kill, the title track. And really it's just kind of this like slow sort of drudge of just these clean sounds, just playing, E minor chords. And then just, absolutely kicks in with the heavy parts, and really it's just that clean arpeggiated section, and then like one riff and an amazing vocal performance. It's a fan favorite, I think, for a reason, even though that's like in today's day and age of like 8-second TikTok videos or whatever. I don't feel like really sort of long drawn out song like that one would necessarily land as well, because it requires a lot of attention and sort of investment from the listener. But you get through it and it's kind of just like, damn, all right,
Yeah. Now I like that you say, this album, it is very varied, but it's also like, I find it's very, I agree with you. I think it's a really strong album, and it's a very balanced album in a way. Like it is varied, but it doesn't feel like a Frankenstein thing, that was mashed together, where, like the broader audience, also in part maybe just due to artwork and two songs, I think, will look at the first Danzig album as like the classic, but that album, there's some really good stuff on there. I mean, Mother is a fantastic song. She Rides is a sexy song, but it's I don't find it a very balanced album overall. I think it's a very, there's really great stuff in there, but there's also like, you really feel that he's still kind of finding his way, if you will. So the third album, maybe less remembered by the broader audience, but as an album, not just the song is great, but if you look at it as an album as well, I think it's just a stronger album altogether.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think, again, I kind of keep coming back to just the production. The production on the first album, they really didn't have it together. They were trying something, and I just don't think it suited kind of like what they were ultimately slated to sort of become. It's kind of almost like punk rock production on that, just sort of stripped back, dry as a freaking bone. And when you have those kind of like big open sort of vowel singy kind of things, like it's kind of like diva music, right? Like Glenn Danzig, Tina Turner, Whitney Houston, kind of same sort of maybe vocal approach with just the long held out wails and that sort of thing. Right. You want some reverb on that, and if you don't have it, it sort of falls flat. So I feel like some of the songs on the first album, had the production been maybe a little bit different, had they threw in a little bit more vocal melodies, maybe even just turned up a little bit of goddamn reverb, could have been better. But second and third album for me. We got that figured out, and it's boom, there it is.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you guys released a fantastic album a year and a half ago now already. What are you guys working on? Like, what's going on in Silver Talon world?
Yeah, so we've been pretty heads down, kind of working on the new record, and I'm happy to say we're almost done. We do a lot of pre-production, so we're basically recording the entire album just sort of piece by piece before we actually go into the studio, right? Just given the way, you know, technology just makes it so easy. The problem is that we're a lot more calculated, I guess, with what we're doing. So if it's like, you know, the demo track doesn't really hit right, then we go back and it's, you know, rinse and repeat. So it's not one of those situations where we jammed a few songs and then we go into the studio and we're like, well, hope it works. I want it to be very much kind of like, yes, this is the track. This is what this
and your music also doesn't allow for that. Let's be honest, you guys bring a very layered, progressive, inspired, heavy power metal. There's a lot going on. It's not. I mean, you got a T-shirt of Motorhead. It's far from a Motorhead approach.
Yeah, exactly. So that being said, yeah, you know, it just takes time. And not something that is, I guess, as much appreciated in the sort of 8-second TikTok world. Like, here's my new content video, just reacting to something or whatever, cookie cutter bullshit kind of thing. But that's the way we're doing it. So, but I am happy to say that, you know, this weekend, got like 3 songs that I need to mix and put together. So we'll have like 3 more demos to add, and we're pretty much there. So it's
exciting.
We did the thing where you write like, you know, 15, 20 songs and then you choose the best ones. So that is what we're doing. That takes, you know, again, that even takes a little bit more time because we're not just rolling the first 10 that comes into our brains on the record. It's, you know, really a methodical, sort of thought out kind of process.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to listen to the first songs when you guys are ready to share those out into the world. And then I will continue to keep my fingers crossed to see lots of show announcements so that we get to see you guys live on a stage, because that is well overdue. Awesome, man. Well, Bryce, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you opening the door and letting us in, and you know, getting a little bit of your passion for Danzig music, and thank you so much for sharing that love with us.
Yes, always happy to spread the gospel of Danzig. It's more than a guy that just got punched in the face, kids. Exactly.
And there you go. And that would be a fantastic title for a best of collection, the gospel of Danzig.
There we go.
Awesome. Bryce, have a wonderful rest of the day. I truly appreciate it, and hope to see you soon.
All right. Thank you. Likewise. You too.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.